Hey everyone, it's Benineight or Ben here, doing something a little bit different. I don't usually do videos like this, but tonight I am streaming the end of Chapter 5 of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'd like to talk about the chapter. I also have an announcement related to my streams, but I know how the end of Chapter 5 is. I know what happens. I am not going to be in the state to do this properly. So I figured I'd do this little video in advance, talk about what I want to talk about, so that, you know, when I stream, I can just let the emotions just overwhelm me. So, if you haven't experienced Chapter 5 of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in some way, whether that's playing it yourself, watching my stream, watching someone else's stream, don't watch. I'm going to put a timestamp in the description or do chapters. I'm going to use some kind of YouTube feature. If you don't want to be spoiled or you just don't care about Xenoblade, although I would question why you're here on my channel if you don't, and you still want to know what the announcement is, you can use that to skip past all of the spoiler stuff. So, anyway, 3, 2, 1, they're all gone. Chapter 5 is fucking incredible. It's by far my favorite chapter of Xenoblade 3. It's just the best chapter in the game. It's probably the best chapter in the series. It's just so well done. So incredibly emotional, and there's just a lot to talk about. It starts off very strong. The party finally arrive at Sword March. The game has been building to this moment for the first half, and it's incredible when you get there. You meet great characters like Monica. You go to the city, and it's completely different from everything else in the game. You learn about how the world works, how it should work. You get the scene with the babies, which is incredibly emotional. I love that cutscene so much. I love Tyon's reaction to the baby. It's so goddamn adorable and emotional and heartwarming. And then after that, you get to Erythia Sea. And Erythia Sea, as I've said many, many times on stream, is one of my favorite areas in the game. Yes, the boat's a bit of a pain to control, but the area is huge. It's gorgeous. There's so much to see, so much to do. And there are so many side quests that open up around this point in the game. And as I've said, I'm a bit of an outlier. I love side quests. Even if they're boring, I just can't get enough of them. And Xenoblade 3 is not boring. It has a lot of really fantastic side quests. A lot of the Ascension quests open up during Chapter 5, and those are always great. They're a lot of fun. A lot of new classes open up in Chapter 5 as well, and there are some really, really great ones. Incursor, Soul Hacker, Signifer, Martial Artist, some of the best classes in the game. Just the gameplay in Chapter 5 really just hits its stride. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Then you get to the prison. Now, the prison itself is a little tedious, I will admit, but I feel like that's the point. They were trying to convey how just dull and droll and horrible the prisoners' lives are, and I think they conveyed that well, and it's a bit of a calm before the storm that's coming. Gondor is obviously a big part of the prison sequence, and Gondor is incredibly divisive. I know this. I love Gondor. I think Gondor is great, but I know a lot of people really don't like Gondor, and I do get it. I get why they don't like Gondor. She's definitely an extreme character, but she's a character that I find absolutely fucking hilarious. I think she's great, and I'm glad that she's in the game. And then, the escape. The escape sequence is phenomenal. That fight with Mobius M is... I love how she can take control of your party members, make them fight against you. The music is incredible. The flute being brought into the already great Mobius themes, just absolutely phenomenal. And then N just comes in and bodies you. And the cutscenes during this part of the game as well are so well animated. They're so fun to watch. They're great. I have never enjoyed seeing characters I love get beaten up as much as that. It's great. Now, obviously, then that leads into the Senna land sacrifice, and I don't know that I believe that they were really going to go through with those two dying like that. That said, though, even though I didn't believe it, it's still incredibly emotional. It's a really sad scene. Senna acting like that this is what her life has been building to. Mio desperately begging her not to waste her life like that. It's some sad stuff. It's some emotional stuff, and that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to emotions in Chapter 5. Because then N gets his great idea. He takes them to Agnes Castle, and the build-up to Mio's homecoming begins. Now, obviously, Mio's homecoming has been a massive part of the game's story up until now. They've been constantly pushing the idea, you know, it's 3 months away, it's 2 months away, it's 1 month away. It's getting slowly closer and closer and closer and closer the whole game. Now, I expected one of two things would happen with this. It was either going to be something that they found a way to stop in the nick of time, or it would be part of the ending. It'd be like a bittersweet, we saved the world, but we couldn't save Mio kind of thing. And then out of nowhere, in Chapter 5, oh, no. It's happening now. It's happening now, and you best be bloody ready for it. And they build up to it incredibly. It's a very long cutscene, but it's a very well-done cutscene. Every just camera angle, every voice line, both in terms of how it's written and how it's performed, just builds up to the moment so much. There's just this constant rising emotional tension as you know what's coming and you realize kind of how inevitable it is. And there are these little moments of hope sprinkled throughout. Like when Mio's like, oh, we still have time. When Riku's like, you need to draw a lucky 7. You're like, are they going to do it? Are they going to get out of it? Are they going to get out of it? And then you see the gold motes start rising. Noah drops his flute and it's like, oh shit. They just did that. They just fucking did that. N as well during this is... God, he is a dick. He is a villain that really just makes you hate him, rubbing what he's doing in at every moment. That scene where he drops Noah's flute in front of him and he's like, you're an Offseer, send her off. I wanted to just grab through the screen and beat the ever-loving shit out of him because, it's heavy stuff. And I can't talk about this part of the game without talking about the music as well because, oh my God, the vocal theme, A Step Away, is beautiful. Sarah Weeder sings it beautifully. She is incredible. And I like that it's not overused like something like Drifting Soul is. Now, I love Drifting Soul. It's one of my favorite tracks in the series, but it is used a lot. So when you hear it, you don't really think of one specific set of emotions, one specific moment. But with The Step Away, it's only used during this sequence. And every time I listen to it, I see those shots of the moon. I see Noah bawling his eyes out. I think about Mio going to her death. And it gets me sad every time. The music track that plays when Noah's breaking down and wondering if an Offseer can reach people, it's a very understated track, but a very beautiful and emotional one. It always catches me by surprise when I listen to it again on the soundtrack, and every time I'm like, yeah, this track fucking slaps. This track is good. It makes me sad. And then the song that plays during the homecoming itself. I already loved the A Life Sent On Offseer melody, and this is probably my favorite version of it. They took a track that I found really soothing and relaxing and made this just really emotional, haunting track out of it. It brings me to tears every time I listen to it. It's goddamn incredible. One of the best bits of music in the entire series. It's just so well done. And I have to hand it to the voice actors as well. Harry McIntyre as Noah, Amy Fionn Edwards as Mio in particular. Those two really shine, but everyone else does as well. There are so many great little moments. The animators as well just did a really good job conveying how the characters are feeling. Noah's despair, that little sad look on Manana's face when she's trying to cheer Noah up with the food. There's just so many moments. Chapter 5 is just... I don't know what Monolith did to do it, but they hit lightning in a bottle. They made something really special. On my first playthrough, I was not prepared for this at all. I don't consider myself a very emotional person. I'm not a person who gets really emotional with like films or games. It takes a lot to get me to that point. Xenoblade 1 didn't really get me there. Xenoblade 2 did, but it took a lot. It took a lot of building up. Pyra's death kind of almost got me there. Not quite. Torna got me there, but that was like 200 hours into the game by the time I finished Torna. Xenoblade 3 had already got me to that point with Ethel's death. Ethel's death already made me really sad, and I thought that was going to be my baseline for how sad I'm going to be. No. No. They broke me. Monolith just broke me emotionally. I started playing Chapter 5 at around, I think it was around 9 o'clock on a Sunday. I saw in the quest log, I'm near the end of Chapter 5. I'll finish the chapter, go to bed. We'll break Gondor out of prison. We'll be setting up for Nia the next chapter. Gonna go find the Queen. It's gonna be great. I had no idea what was in store for me. I think it was well past my bedtime by the time I got to that save screen. And I was just like, yeah, I can't sleep after that. I've got to keep playing. I got to know what happens. I got to know how they get out of this. Like, Yeah, I was a mess, and I'm going to be a mess tonight. Even knowing what happens, I've just tried watching the cutscene on its own, and every time I watch it, I still tear up. And the fact that that's just detachedly watching it gets me that bad, and now this is an actual playthrough I'm doing that I've been building up to. Yeah, it's going to be gonna be some tears, I think. Obviously, you guys will have already seen it by now, so you will know. You might be able to see what I'm doing behind the mute filter. We'll see. Anyway, you probably already guessed what I'm about to say. But Chapter 5 is where I'm bringing Season 2 of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 to a close. I'm sorry, the cliffhanger is just too perfect. I can't resist. Plus, I kind of like the parallel of having both of the seasons end in one of the castles. It just lines up nicely. This season, obviously, I haven't done much story stuff. It's just been the one chapter. But it has been a very important chapter, and obviously there's been a lot of side quests and stuff padding it out. But I always knew that the whole Season 1, Season 2 split was going to be a bit awkward. Because the end of Chapter 5 was always going to be where Season 2 broke off. That was one of the first things I decided when I decided I was going to stream the game, just because that cliffhanger is perfect. I want to leave that sitting with you guys for a few weeks. But I was unsure where to put that first Season 1 break, because Chapter 3 seemed like too soon. The game's really only just getting started at that point. And then Chapter 4's maybe too close to Chapter 5, but I figured Chapter 5 has a lot of side quests in it anyway, so that can pad that season out a bit. Yeah. It's been a good season, though. I've had a lot of fun. There's been a lot of really fun side quests. Definitely dragged at some points for me. As much as I love the side quests, the fact that there's quite a few weeks between story beats and the fact that I've been really anticipating getting to this point of the game has definitely got me a bit antsy at times. But we made it here, and I'm looking forward to having a quick little break from Xenoblade, but I'm also really looking forward to getting back to the game and finishing off. So, I'm sure the question on all of your minds is, what game am I going to be playing during this break? Well, I've picked out a game that's quite intrinsically linked to the origin of my channel, and honestly, it's long overdue for me to stream it. And that game is Super Metroid. Back during 2020, a friend of mine was on about playing Super Metroid for the first time. And this friend, not to sort of dig on him, he is quite navigationally challenged. He gets lost a lot. So I thought it'd be quite entertaining to sit with him in voice chat and listen to him play the game. Obviously, COVID happened in 2020, so he decided he was going to stream it. I don't know what made him decide he was going to stream it, but I ended up joining him on those streams, acting as kind of like a guide, reacting to what he's doing, giving him pointers when he was stuck. And I had a really great time. I had a really stressful time, because some of the things he did drove me bananas, but I really enjoyed it, and it inspired me to buy my own Elgato, and, well, the rest is history. 4 years later, I'm still streaming. But in all that time, I've streamed a lot of Metroid games. I've streamed Other M, which is terrible. I've streamed Prime, which is awesome. I've streamed Dread, which obviously came out in that 4 years. I've streamed AM2R, Zero Mission, the 2 remakes, and very recently I've streamed Metroid 1 and Metroid 2. You guys might have noticed what I was doing. Doing Metroid 1 and Metroid 2 like I did was to deliberately build up to this, because I've known that I wanted to stream Super Metroid for quite a while, and knowing that the second break from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 would be very close to my 4th anniversary, it just felt like kind of the perfect time to do it. Plus, it's a very short game. You know, Metroid games aren't long, so it won't take long to blast through it and get back to Xenoblade. Ooh, and find out what's going to happen after everything that went down. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I hope this hasn't been too weird or boring or rambly. Hopefully you've got, I don't know, hopefully Super Metroid excites you. I guess I'll see you whenever I go live. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.